So hello everyone, welcome again to the supply chain management class session. Last time we talked about many supply chain, primarily purchasing related techniques and aspects. We also talked about certain techniques and certain classifications of purchasing, procurement, such as single or multiple sourcing, indirect or direct purchasing. We kind of went through the relevance of procurement and sourcing. We went through how exactly this field is crucial, how we can add additional value on this field. And today we are going to continue with certain tools related to this field together. Now, last time we left off in a way that we did not cover example one. So I would like to start today's class session straight away with an exercise. So you see on the following example, example one. And your job is to be a purchasing manager in the food and beverages industry from Leverkusen, Germany, and assume that you have 4 supply options for the resource citric acid. We need, of course, food grade citric acid, otherwise it would be not so funny to kind of mix in industrial grade stuff into our colas or stuff like that. The exercise gives concise examples about that we need 20 food containers. If you can calculate it, this would mean approximately, or exactly actually 10 20-foot containers of each 23 tons of citric acid then. And what we need to do, or what you guys need to do, is to calculate which supply option is the best for us. So we have 4 options. We need to have the material within a week. And you see that there are regular EU customs, and from certain countries there are also so-called anti-dumping customs or anti-dumping duties. You will see, and if I allow you to enter the breakout rooms, you might not be able to see the slides. I'm not certain about that, but in all cases you can find the slides in Moodle, and your job is to calculate the final price in terms of delivered duty paid, so inclusive duties, insurance, and co, until our premises to Leverkusen from all these 4 supply options. And for each and every breakout room, you will have to go through one of these examples. So breakout room 1 will have to go through and calculate this for supplier A. Breakout room is going to do supplier B. Breakout room 3 is going to do supplier C. And number 4 will cover the 4th vendor. So welcome back, everyone. So let's have a volunteer from Group A and tell me what I should do with the Belgian supplier. What are my final costs here?
Yes, we talked about the Belgian supplier for the last 20 minutes and took everything into consideration. First of all, we saw that we need the first batch within the first week, and the first supplier is from Belgium. So it would be possible to transfer the goods via road transfer to our client within 1 week in the EU.
Okay.
I wanted to show the price in an Excel, but maybe we can just quickly discuss it. So the price per metric ton is 1,600, and we need 23 of it, which gives us a total price of 368,000 euro. And then we talked about the custody for the EU, which should be included with the Incoterm FDD.
You mean the customs?
Yeah, the customs should be included because not FDD. Sorry. We're talking about
the DDP. Yeah, it should be DDP. Yeah.
Yeah, which means delivery is duty paid, which means that the seller pays upfront for everything to deliver the goods basically to our door. You would only need to unload it, like from the cars in this case. And the only thing that's additionally worth talking about is the insurance, because the case is not so clear with the insurance. It is a thing of negotiation if the seller or the buyer pays for it. So if we would pay for the insurance as well, it would be approximately 1% of the total cost of our goods. And this would be an additional, about 4,000 euros. And that would be around 372,000 euros for the material per annum, about 372,000 euros per annum.
Okay, so on a per metric ton basis, you mean you just added 1% to the 1,600?
Correct.
True, but we calculated it for the whole year.
Oh, 0.5% point if we split it with the seller.
Okay, okay. Now the thing is, with a DDP, typically the insurance is also included. Not always, but almost always. So technically, what your answer gave me is more or less correct, but technically you should not change anything with this 1,600. So you guys could have actually just lay back and say, well, we have the solution right there on the slides. And let me move on to what else is important in addition to the purchasing price. So because during the last session, we talked a lot about, okay, we focus on the price, we have to optimize our spend, we have to optimize our procurement and sourcing procedures. And this in many cases meant typical sourcing techniques such as single or dual sourcing, always in the light of costs. But if I ask you the question, what else you should pay attention to when you make a purchasing decision, especially one with a long commitment, then what would you name? So what other factors come to your mind?
I would say certain agricultural food.
Agricultural products from raspberries from Peru or from the EU, depending on the season, or from avocados from Mexico. What I'm going to do as the next step with you is to show you what you can do with the Bloomberg terminals. Now, I know that Professor Wood also introduced you to the terminals to some extent, and you might as well have to use them for your project in quantitative business analysis. I also know that in the third semester, you will have a designated course when you will kind of go deep into how to use Bloomberg. For now, I would just like to restrict myself to what you can do with it on the supply chain front. Now, as you can see, you have a lot of pieces of information for publicly listed companies. You see BMW now. And if you use the Bloomberg terminals, you can see the suppliers and the clients, as well as the most or the largest competitors as well. You can identify this with the supply chain functionalities of the terminal. Now, of course, in the automotive industry, it's a bit tricky because it's an oligopolistic, more or less an oligopolistic industry. But as a general rule, in industries where you have many, many players, this really helps you to kind of identify who is a competitor in that particular industry. Yet, of course, the scope is also relevant because if you say Microsoft, they are in the AI business, hardware business, software business, enterprise resource planning system business. So in many cases, you will see competitors from all angles that the company covers, which you also do for BMW. You see the main competitors here. You see the largest suppliers such as aluminum or ThyssenKrupp, where you can, or car plastic, where you can see how much of the revenue stems from BMW. On the other end, you also see the largest clients of BMW. You definitely won't see, let's say, Mr. Huberbauer, who's kind of buying a BMW Z4 from, let's say, a handler. You will see mostly car rental companies or institutional clients there, of course, due to their size. In any case, this tool helps you to kind of explore the market and what its structure is. Okay, last time we left off where I talked about that there are certain dilemmas when you can decide whether you manufacture a product yourself or whether you buy it from an external supplier. We're going to unravel the background of such characteristics today, and we're going to see what are the main implications or the main contributing factors to so-called make or buy decisions. Going back to our guiding model, the SCORE model, it's a dilemma that requires extensive planning, and it's the interface between or beyond sourcing and kind of the internal operations, depending on, of course, which option we choose. Many situations could actually trigger a make or buy decision, such as if I develop a new product, do I want to produce it in-house? Do I want to produce some components in-house? Or do I want to produce some components out of the border of my companies. Maybe I want to kind of produce the product in its entirety within my company. Maybe there are also examples where the product is actually produced by fully by an external partner, and this just could be also highly prestigious luxury brands. For example, Rolls-Royce cars are actually produced by BMW. Not many people know it, but that's the case. So I need to take into consideration what is my own strategy as a company? Where do I want to put my focus on? Whether there are any problems with, let's say, internal production, or whether there are poor performance issues with suppliers. What is the technology cycle that I have? And I kind of put this in a box, and I derive in which direction the procedure should go. And then I already have some preliminary opinion, which is of course not necessary to proceed to the final decision, but then I make it to the next step where I say, okay, it's one thing how the technology and the demand trends look like, but what is the strategic alignment and what are my core competencies? Is this product or part of the product a core of the product that I'm selling? Is it crucial for me to manufacture them internally? And the answer could be actually very much different. If you are, let's say, a big automotive manufacturer, so Audi, for example, you want actually to produce the engines yourself. But I can tell you examples where certain automotive cars and so certain automotive manufacturers actually bought engines one by one from certain companies. So there was a time when Nissan actually delivered its cars with BMW engines due to certain reasons. So I have to assess what is my value proposition to the client, to the customer. What does the customer expect from me? What are my own core competencies, and how do they align with my overall strategy? Where do I want to see my company in 1, 2, and 5 years? Of course, all of this has to happen not as a philosophical level, but more in a KPI and metric-driven word. So once I'm kind of have an idea about this, I do a so-called cost alternative calculation. And very important it is that I'm assessing the total cost of all alternatives. On the next session, we're going to learn about a technique called total cost of ownership. And that is essentially something that I have to take a look into here. Now, what do you think the total cost of ownership means? Have you encountered this term already? Total cost of ownership.
Like all the costs that you need to function properly, or like to stay in business, so to say.
Yes, but what does the total cost of ownership consist of?
It's like buying a car. It's not just the cost of a car, but also to maintain it, the oil, the diesel, and everything. That's part of the cost that comes with the ownership. So it's the same for if you start a plant, then it's not just about buying a machine one time. There are inherent costs.
It's not just the product that I'm buying, but I have to run this product. I need spare parts. I need insurance for it. I need, I don't know, many aspects for it. I need to register it. There might be taxes, fees, fringes. Maybe it requires a special person or a special license to be able to drive this product or to operate this product. And of course, related energy costs, admin costs, depreciation, transfer pricing issues. And needless to say, I might as well have to dispose of this product at some point. And this can also be relatively expensive if it has environmental hazards in the end. So TCO, or total cost of ownership, is I have to kind of have this cost level for the entire life cycle that I'm planning to use the product for. And that is something that I should do about all the alternatives. I'm doing it both for the make option, so if I do it myself, and also for the buy option. So both for the insourcing as well as the outsourcing option. This is purely a cost calculation task or assignment that I can do myself in an Excel sheet, or if I have an ERP system, then I just have to walk down to the controlling department, drink a nice coffee with the head of controlling and ask him, I need certain positions from SAP, and I would like to get the answer how much it costs me to manufacture, let's say, one cell phone charger or the cable part of a cell phone charger. And he's going to be, or she's going to be able to tell you this to you exactly. Because in these ERP systems, this is pretty much embedded. So once I have these costs, then I have to move back and consider the big picture again here, which is a mixture of the costs as well as the strategic alignment and core competencies, as well as the technology and demand trends. So I have to kind of put this into my decision box and have to come up with a decision.